So it's been quite a new year already. All the while, we're all trying to keep it together about Renee Good's murder by ice. And I'm telling y'all, this week has been really tough. And I watched so many people on these social media spaces around us trying to pretend as if everything was okay. And this is the moment we are in, like actually in right now. We are holding on to something, this idea of normalcy. And that something is crumbling, and we all feel it. We know it's crumbling. And this new moon in Capricorn on January 18th is coming in to plant a seed toward whatever comes next. Not what we wish could come next, but what actually comes next. And I want us to look at what is happening here. So this lunation, it lands at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And I keep thinking about the tarot card corresponding to this decan, which is the Four of Pentacles. And if you know the tarot, it's that image of someone clutching to coins on their chest, white knuckling. And you can see in this card that they're not actually safe. They think they are. They're sitting there gripping, and the world is moving around them, and they're frozen. And that's the energy of this new moon. That's what I'm seeing everywhere right now. People fantasizing about getting back to normal like we did in 2020 when everyone was daydreaming about brunch, about returning to whatever life was before. And I remember thinking, even then, there's no going back. There's only what we're going to build from here. But this grip, the resistance to actually being in the moment and doing something, that grip was causing more damage than just accepting where we were. And we're in a similar moment now, except the stakes are higher and the window is narrower. And we've got this whole lineup of planets in Capricorn. We got the Sun, we got Mercury, we got Mars, all emphasizing the seriousness of the language we're using right now. The way Mars is motivating us toward actual integrity. And I'm not talking just like the aesthetic version that sounds good in a caption, but the real thing that costs us something. On top of all of this, with this lunation, we got Venus moving into Aquarius at 1 degree. We got Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius, doing what Pluto does, excavating the rot, shaking the chains. You know, Aquarius wants us to break free. It wants us to move forward. But we can't do that by anxiously holding on to the echoes of an imperialist past. You know, if we are all one, we actually have to be one. So let me talk to you about what Capricornian energy actually asks of us, because this is where I think a lot of people get stuck thinking that Capricorn is about hustle culture or productivity, and that's such a shallow read. Capricorn at its finest is about the summit. It's about looking at a mountain and deciding you're going to climb that mountain, not because you have to, not because someone told you so, but because you know that there is a version of you waiting at the top of that summit. You know that there's hope up there. And I think of that word hope, and I think of this moment that we're in. You know, this is part of the revolutionary work, climbing that mountain. And it's strenuous. It ain't glamorous. It's day in, day out. It's inconvenient. But here's what's true. The architecture of late stage capitalism has figured out a formula to keep us at the bottom of that summit, hooked and dependent on them. They've made it comfortable enough that we can ignore what our comfort costs other people. Our security, this thing we're gripping onto, has consequences. People are struggling to pay their rent, feed their families, and we're meant to what? Just hold on to this false sense of normalcy while the foundation crumbles? But that's only one side of the Capricornian energy, of course, because it is a sea goat. And Stephen Forrest writes about Capricorn and this idea that even the sea goat needs balance or it collapses. You know, you cannot sustain monumental focus, hard work, and discipline and determination without some sort of break, some recreation, some humanity in the systems we're building. What Capricorn does when it loses that balance is it becomes mechanical. It's just going through the motions, checking boxes. And then, of course, something breaks. This repressed hunger, this repressed humanity, it rises up fiercely from the depths and it grabs that Capricornian energy by the helm. And this is what we're seeing collectively right now. The beast of consumption, this system, right? And extraction and exploitation, it's breaking through. And we have a choice about whether we're going to keep feeding it or whether we're actually going to do the uncomfortable work of building something different, more sustainable. We cannot keep acting like everything is okay. And all this Capricornian energy is bringing it up to the surface so we can really be about it. Now, Venus in Aquarius is, of course, bringing its own flavor to this conversation of integrity and exploration of the values of our interdependence, of actually needing one another. And it's asking how much of that is truth and how much are we actually plugged into and embodying interdependence versus just overwhelmed by it all and detaching, which is such an Aquarian trap, of course. When everything feels too big, too heavy, too much, Aquarius says, let me intellectualize this, let me detach, let me float above it all. Now, Venus, of course, is bringing its own flavor to this conversation of integrity, its own exploration of the values of our interdependence, relying on one another. You know, how much of that is truth? How much are we actually plugged into and embodying interdependence and relying on one another versus just overwhelmed by it all and detaching, which is such an Aquarian trap. You know, when everything feels too big for Aquarius energy, too heavy or too much, Aquarius says, let me just intellectualize this, let me detach, and let me float above it. It's equal parts. I want to be involved in collective liberation, but I'm also like disgusted by humanity and humanity can't help itself. Venus in Aquarius here is like, we need you plugged in. Freedom is on the horizon and we need you here and now. And then right there with Aquarius, we have Pluto doing what Pluto does, which is revealing all of this systemic rot, the death, the rebirth, the transformation. You know, Pluto entered Aquarius fully in 2025, and we've been collectively excavating, clearly. Like, what systems have to die here? What structures are we clinging to that are actually killing us? This is the era of innovation born from necessity, revelation born from crisis. And Stephen Forrest, again, my favorite astrologer, he talks about how the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we got Mozart, we got people flying in balloons for the first time. We got breakthrough after breakthrough because the old paradigm had to shatter for something new to emerge. And we're in that shattering right now. And I know that's heavy. I know that's not easy to sit with, but the Capricorn work says, okay, what summit are we actually climbing here? What are we actually building toward? Because if we don't know, if we're just reaching, just gripping, then we're building someone else's vision. We're climbing someone else's mountain. And look, I'm in process with all of this just like you are. I'm in and out between being super plugged into the mission and this moment and also being part of the problem with my consumption. Weaning ourselves off modern day conveniences is not easy. There's a lot to be grateful for. Of course, this is pretty amazing. I'm talking to you right now in a virtual space that is mind-blowing. But at what cost? You know, the question that keeps coming up for me is, what am I feeding? Where's my attention going? What am I supporting with my choices, my time, my energy? And you know, awareness is key here. Knowing where you stand is key. Breaking free from these intoxicating loops that late stage capitalism has perfected, it's going to take time and effort. And let's be real, they figured out that formula to keep us hooked. But let's be realer, this is not sustainable. But there's a lot of support on the way with this lunation as well. And it's interesting because, I mean, the astrology of this moment is literally providing what we need, because this lunation is also sextiling both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. And I want us to sit with what this combination offers because it's truly everything. We have Saturn and Neptune together. This is the dream, very much Neptune. with the blueprint, very much Saturn, the vision, very much Neptune, with the discipline, very much Saturn, to actually build it. And I think we need both right now, like way more than we've needed anything. Because without the dream, we have no reason to keep going. But without the discipline, the dream just floats away into spiritual bypass territory where we're all just meditating and manifesting and hoping things get better while the house burns down around us. Saturn and Neptune together is spiritual discipline. And I love that phrase because it cuts through all of the fluff. It's committing to a practice, showing up when you don't feel like it, building something slowly, even when you can't see the whole structure yet. And that Piscean energy, it's giving us this watery environment to dream and build at the same time. Not one or the other, we need both. And then, I mean, we've also got Uranus and Taurus trining this whole thing as well. Uranus, that planet of shock and innovation and surprise moments in Taurus. And that's wild because Taurus is the body, right? It's the earth, it's physical reality. And Uranus is there like your body is waking up and going, something is wrong here. Something is not sustainable here. Pay attention. Sometimes gently, mostly not gently because that's Uranus. But all this to say that your body knows when something's off. Your body knows when you're living in a way that's killing you slowly. And this trine to this new moon means that that shock is a fuel. Let it break through whatever story you've been telling yourself about why you can't change, why you can't start building something different, why you can't try again. So like, I'm laying all of this out because I want us to see that there's an architecture of support available for this lunation. This isn't a moment where we're being asked to do impossible things with no resources. There's plenty of resources. The question is whether we're actually using them, whether we're willing to show up for the uncomfortable middle part where it's not exciting anymore, where the adrenaline of crisis has faded and it's just the boring work of building something that might not even work. And that's the Capricornian work, showing up for the boring part, committing to the long game. And yeah, there's love and joy and beauty on the way there. Don't forget that. But also, don't lose sight of what we're working toward. We want a better world, but do we really, 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 really want it? Or do we just want it to come easy? Because there's nothing up ahead astrologically that's super fluffy and rainbows. And we all feel that. We can all feel the intensity of the moment we're in. The question is whether we're willing to be with it, to work with it, to let it shape us into the people who can actually build something different, who can actually build this new world. So what can we actually do? Because I think there's that big question right now, like what does this look like in practice? First things first, awareness. And I mean real awareness, not this performative awareness. Like, where do you stand? What are you actually supporting with your choices, with your consumption, your attention, your energy? What beast are you feeding? Get really honest about that. Write it down if it helps. Look at it. I do this and it's uncomfortable every time, calling myself out. But that discomfort, that integrity is sacred information. Number 2, understand that this is going to take time, my love. The programming runs deep. We've been trained since birth to be good consumers, good workers, good participants in systems that extract from us and this planet. And undoing the training is not a weekend project. It's the work of years, and that's okay. Capricorn energy knows about the long game. It knows that the real change is built slowly with consistency and with commitment. Number 3, find your people. I'm talking about the ones who are also doing this work, the ones who aren't trying to maintain the idea of normalcy of a once upon a time. No, I'm talking about the ones who can sit with you in the middle of all this discomfort of this transition and help you build something different. You know, Aquarius energy is collective energy, and we don't do this alone. I think sometimes we forget that because the culture is so invested in individual solutions to collective problems. So rely on each other, Start that community, participate in community, be a part of this movement on a local level. All right. Number 4, tend to your body. Let this Uranus and Taurus energy really teach you to listen to what your physical self is telling you about the life you're living. Are you exhausted, anxious, disconnected? Well, your body knows what needs to change. Trust it. Mine tells me all the time, and I ignore it more than I should. But the work is in listening and in moving the body towards a place of nervous system regulation. Number 5, hold the vision and do the work. That's the Saturn-Neptune gift, right? You need both. You need to be able to imagine a world where things are different, where we've built systems that support life instead of extracting from it. And you need to show up every single day and just do one thing, even one small thing that moves you closer toward that world. And look, I don't have all the answers here. I'm figuring this out as I go, same as you are. Some days I'm clear and focused and plugged in. Other days I'm overwhelmed and just trying to survive. And both are okay. This isn't about being perfect or getting it all right. It's about staying conscious. It's about not letting ourselves slip back into the comfortable numbness that got us here in the first place. All of us are trying to hold it together while naming what's actually happening. And maybe the work here is to stop trying to hold it all together. Maybe the work is to let the false sense of security crumble so we can build something real. This new moon in Capricorn is really asking, what are you willing to build? What are you willing to commit to? What summit are you pointing yourself toward? It's not asking you to have all the things figured out. It's not asking you to be heroic or perfect or comfortable. It's asking you to be conscious, to be present, and to recognize the seriousness of this moment that we're in, and to make choices from that recognition instead of from the fantasy that things can just go back to how they were. They can't. That world is gone. The security of that world is crumbling, and underneath that grief and fear and disorientation, there's something else, and that's possibility. This has never been done before. There's a chance here to build something that actually works, to align ourselves with the actual values of this moment instead of the ones we inherited from systems that were never designed to support our flourishing. So that's what's here. That's what's available. That's what this lunation is offering. It's not certainty. It's not comfort. It's not easy answers. It's just the opportunity to plant a seed toward the work ahead. And I'm looking forward to see you in it. I'm looking forward to collaborating and to just seeing where this path leads us. I'm grateful to be on this journey with you. All right, my love. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this transmission. If you enjoyed this transmission, please check out my app. I have lots of offerings on there. Right now, my one-on-one sessions are 50% off from now until the end of this month of January. I also have the collective, where that's my private membership community. I have personalized readings on there, workshops. There's a private community where we're talking about the astrology. It's building, it's growing. It's very much like at its beginning phases, but I would love for you to be a part of it. All of this is, of course, linked in the description below. You can check them all out at your convenience. And I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me the space to vocalize all this stuff. Astrology is how I make sense of this world, and it's really helped me. It empowers me, and I hope it continues to empower you as well. Bye for now. I'll see you on the other side.